Okay. Let's see. Let me do my own test. The background, or I should say the settings. Let's do a test. That's pretty fast. On my end, it's pretty fast. How fast does it seem to be on your end? While you're figuring that out, I'll see if I can get the settings to load up on the browser. It doesn't want to for some reason. Okay, it says excellent quality. All right, we're back in. We're back in. It says stream health is excellent. Now it's just a matter of okay. Well, it says the stream health is excellent. Okay. Well, according to this, well, no, never mind. It's giving me the same bitrate warnings again. So I guess I do need to stream in lower latency or a lower. Though you know, now I don't see my messages coming through at all behind your head there. No, I don't either. That's Streamlabs, so that's another issue entirely. I don't know what's going on there. Scuffed as fuck. Okay, but the message above my head, the messages above my head aside, because yeah, I can see them in OBS. How is that different? Is that better? Potato. Five seconds. That's on par with Twitch. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. And we can actually communicate like this. Even though it's giving me the warnings over on YouTube, so does the video look good despite the better latency? Okay. Full 1080p looks good. About 5 seconds on latency. Okay. We can make that work. Yeah, that's a lot better. I don't know what Stream Elements is up to with not updating the list, but that's okay. That's something on their end. That'll just it probably just glitched that out whenever I ended the stream and restarted it so quickly. But if everything else is good, we'll get back to it. And we'll see what happens. I'm not even sure if I picked the right category. I picked the education category, but I'm not sure if that's what I should have picked. As usual, and like I always say, I just blindly experiment. I don't I don't have anybody to ask. So blind experimentation it is. Oh, the education does? Are we in like a body painting naked yoga category? Fuck. Well, do you know what category I should be in as a writer? Should it be in like a how-to category? Because it said how-to and styling, and I don't know what the fuck it means by styling. This can just become a yeah, that's true. Yeah, maybe it's not even that far off the mark. Maybe it's the category we belong in. But this can be a figuring out how to stream on YouTube stream instead of editing. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you, it ain't looking too good on getting my illustration this week. Because I had asked the artist last week, and I was like, "Well, when am I going to get it?" And they said, "Well, by the end of next week." It is Friday, so I'm not sure about that. So maybe I got extra. Maybe I have more time than I think, because I got to wait on that to do just about anything. I wonder, there is an author streaming right now. If they're still streaming. Are they still streaming? I say that like you would know. Let's see. I'm going back to the dashboard and see if I can find the person I was thinking about, because they're streaming, and I guess I can see what category they're under. They are not streaming, but I can look at their last stream. Okay, I pulled up their stream. They are streaming in. They actually have hashtags on their stream too. Much smarter than the way I do things. I'm trying to figure out what category they streamed under. I don't even know how to check. Damn, I don't think there's any way for me to even see what they streamed under. Nope, I can see their subs. I can see. Surely there's some way I could see, because how else are you supposed to discover people if you can't see what they're streaming under? But yeah, I mean, I'm sure their end of the week is Sunday. My end of the week, I consider Sunday too. So I'm just saying it's getting very close, and I'm getting very uncomfortable about it as far as it getting done by the end of the week. Yeah, everybody praises it so much, and I can tell you, the author that I'm referring to has like 10,000 subs on here, and their book, I think their most reviewed book has like 5 reviews, And that's no disrespect to them. I'm sure they're a great writer, but it's like, that seems like a very advantageous, you know, thing to be on YouTube if you have that kind of author platform and you're still able to get that kind of subscriber base. Granted, they do an amazing job with all their YouTube stuff. Like, everything's all filled out. Everything's really well made. All their graphics are there and everything. So, obviously, I'm not trying to say you get them for free, but on Twitch, you'll never see a writer get 10,000 subs. Even if they're, a household name, they're probably not going to get 10,000 subscribers on Twitch. The most popular writer I've been able to find on Twitch, she gets like 10 to 20 viewers on her videos. Yeah, that's what it appears like to me. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know a damn thing about anything. I'm just talking completely out of my ass. I don't know how much of what I'm saying is fact or just stupid speculation. Well, I can tell you that it's all stupid speculation. Just how much of that speculation is fact. Exactly. And I'm obviously, I feel the same way. The only thing I'm certain of is that I have no certainties whatsoever when it comes to anything that I'm talking about related to YouTube, and as a matter of fact, pretty much anything else. I kind of thought we would have a couple of people come over from Twitch. I think it's just you. That's okay. When you throw curveballs, sometimes you get some strikes out of it. People tend to miss. I'll use baseball analogies like I know any more about baseball than I do YouTube streaming. There has got to be a way to figure out what category a person has streamed under. Apparently, YouTube doesn't mind. I guess they're like Twitch. They don't mind what kind of links you put in your description. So I should set all those up. Hashtags. Oh, they got a lot of hashtags. I can see a lot of cool stuff about what I should be doing for next time, but I can't see anything about what category they streamed under or anything. Can't see any of that. Maybe let's see, go to the settings. Nope. Nope. Damn. Nope. Even in their about section or any of that stuff. Maybe if I look at a regular video. I'll pull up a regular video. Let's see if I can see it then. Of course not. Yeah, should put that in there. Although I don't know if that's as popular as you might expect it to be. I guess it just depends on who's doing it. I don't know if a dirty raccoon would get a whole lot of views. I could be mistaken, though. I don't know how much of that audience is on YouTube. Could be a lot. Well, I think this is probably going to be. Man, I would prefer if there was a way for me to figure out what I should do. I'm fine with blind experimentation, but the point of an experiment is to get a result that you can interpret. Um, I can't even go onto a similar streamer's page, videos, or anything and figure out exactly what they're doing. And of course, if I try to message somebody as a nobody, I'm just going to get ignored. So, no point in doing that. It's true. And I don't have the programming built into my model to give them what they want. It's not for lack of wanting to. $20 is $20. I'll tell you, at the very least, we'll get a little bit of editing done. I think this was probably a wash. I obviously have a lot of, well, I'm more aware of the things that I don't know how to do. I'm just still not aware of how to learn what to do. It's not like there's a lot of author YouTubers out there that I can, especially like this, VTuber authors. There's a few, but like I said, none of them are going to talk to me, so I just have to kind of figure out what they've done somehow. I've noticed people are weird about this stuff, especially in the creative space. I always kind of thought my philosophy on things like writing, I kind of thought it was the common philosophy, where I sort of look at other authors as teammates in a way. You know, we're all on the same team writing stories for people to enjoy. And even if we write the same sorts of stories, that just means we share an audience, so we should be even closer. We're even closer partners. But I'm learning through Twitter that apparently that is not exactly the common philosophy other authors tend to have. Because so far, with only a couple of exceptions, if I comment on another author's post or something like that, they'll generally ignore me completely. If there's 50 replies to their posts, they'll answer 49 and ignore mine. They're like, oh, he's an author. He's here to steal my audience or something. I don't know. I think that's weird. But, I mean, I've seen that sort of attitude in other industries. So, I guess it shouldn't be too surprising. I'm not going to be that way regardless. I think that's silly.
He mentioned a mishap soon. That gave me some time to focus on this collar business before everything hit the fan. While I waited for Lily to come back, there was the matter of whipping this place into shape. I walked down to Charlie's place, letting him know I took on a new case and got a small advance.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's what I found too. I was just doing the same thing. Well, not exactly. Sounds like what you found was more useful than what I found. I was looking, I tried to look at some author stuff, but couldn't really find anything very quickly. So I was just finding some general category explanations. It looks like either how to or education would work, but I think education probably is. No, I didn't view the source code. Oh, okay. You know what? Hold on just a second. I'm gonna we'll do some sneaky business here, and I'm gonna link you the channel in Discord for the channel I was talking about earlier, and see if you can figure something out. Hello, Shin. I'm glad you could make it. Very glad you could make it because things haven't been going well over here, and I'm a little scared. So I appreciate that you found it. I also linked the wrong. I linked the channel itself, and I should have linked to the live streaming tab too. But until I started this stream, the live streaming tab didn't exist, so I didn't know that. It's been scuff after scuff. We had to end the stream. Um, yeah, I need emotional support from Shin as this stream goes on. It's been pretty rough. We had to end the stream and restart it because we were in carrier pigeon mode. Like a minute between messages, and that was impossible to do anything. And so we, yeah, we have need of your services. Okay, I'll send you the link to their channel because they're like the model of how I feel like I should do things, because they're, even though we're as you'll see, we're very different people, but we're doing sort of the same thing, and they are hella good at the YouTube thing. I'm gonna Discord it to you, and then you can look at their live streams too. Even though they don't seem to save their live streaming VODs very often, at least not. I guess they don't update the playlist very often. But if you go and you look at the live tab on their channel, you can see that they streamed just a couple of hours ago. So, I'll send it to you right now. There you go. It has been sent. Yeah, you know what? I probably watched more live streams over here on YouTube, despite the fact that I I don't need to tell you this, I very clearly know nothing about it and am struggling a lot to figure it out. But I probably watched more live streams over here than I have on Twitch, probably. At least early on. I've watched more live streams on Twitch since I've gotten to know some of you guys. It's also education. Okay. We're in the right category at least. I just need to up my game. Up my game considerably. Which I'm sure you can tell by looking at their channel, they do everything right. But still, like 10,000 subs for an author. And we're not talking, they're not getting subs from their readership because, like I said, their readership seems to be, at least based on what I've seen on Amazon, very, very small. So they built that subscriber base, it seems like pretty much entirely from YouTube, which is cool. Because really, even though my books have done incredibly well, based on most performance metrics, except for money, but I'm sort of the starting from scratch too, so it's basically the same deal. Even if they have like 5 or 10 reviews, it's really the same for me because I have not yet communicated any of this stuff to any of my readers. So I have I have tens of thousands of readers across multiple genres, and probably none of them know about any of this social media or streaming stuff. I doubt a single one knows about it, unless you discovered the books through the social media or through one of my streams. I don't know if it is really that much of a different audience. It's just the circumstance of not linking the two together, and for me specifically, not doing a good job of staying in touch with fans and allowing myself a line of communication to fans. I wasn't so dumb about this with my first book series. Only problem is, that's not my popular series. I think I've mentioned it before. My popular series, I didn't think anybody would ever read it. And so I did nothing. No mailing list. Never considered doing a Patreon because everybody, I had a lot of bad advice. Like, oh, don't do a Patreon. People will think you're begging. You don't want people to see you as a beggar, so don't do a Patreon. I'd like to find these people and give them a raccoon paw across the eyes. But that was very bad advice, needless to say, obviously, since I'm doing the opposite now. Yeah. Well, and even in the way I interpreted your statement, it's still true. So yeah, YouTube streaming is not popular among the general populace, sure. There's still a considerable population for it because, obviously the HoloLive streamers stream on YouTube. Does Niji Sanji use Twitch? I think they use Twitch, but I think they've started doing YouTube. Or do they use YouTube more? I don't keep up with some of the bigger corporate people too much. I know streamers like Pikami used YouTube almost exclusively and only very occasionally do Twitch. Some of the Phase Connect people like Pippa, and I like Pippa a lot. She pretty much always streams on YouTube. Yeah, I know. My God. Well, I mean, oh, is it really? Is it harder on YouTube than it is on Twitch? I would have thought that would just be a general keyboard thing. Do you have to type it somewhere else and then paste it in with YouTube? Oh, okay. I got you. Well, that would make sense. But I still need to, yeah, okay. Oh, is it really? Oh, that sucks. But, obviously, YouTube is the, yeah, you do. You do. That would be useful. But YouTube is where I'm going to be uploading videos, all of my educational type videos that I have planned. So, obviously, I've already got plans for YouTube. So I thought maybe, okay, I've seen, all right, some of this, I'm just repeating myself, but summarizing my thoughts here to you guys. I see 0 cases of an author on Twitch surpassing, let's say, 1,000 followers. I have yet to see that on Twitch. But on YouTube, there are several examples of authors with 10,000 subscribers, 30,000, 60,000. I know of a couple with over 100,000 subscribers. I know of a few with more. It seems like all the authors who, but most of those are authors uploading videos, which is a different thing. But there are some authors that stream, just like the one I mentioned to Gigi. The author I mentioned earlier primarily live streams, and they've got over 10K subscribers who are there to see them write, which is cool. That's cool to me. I don't want to give up on the gaming thing because there are some games I'd like to play, and I may as well stream it. And I was able to meet people like you, Shin, on Twitch, so it's not like Twitch is a completely irrelevant place for me to be where I can never meet anybody who would like my work or like my streams. So it's not like it's, I don't know. It's not like it's a waste of time or anything. But time is limited. Yeah, well, I don't like it either. Imagine having to switch all this stream stuff around. Apparently I didn't do enough. So getting it all switched around in OBS, I've got it switched around now. I tried to switch it around in a way that it could be easily switched back. I think I managed to do that, but there's so much stuff I still didn't know what to do. Like, setting normal latency and then having to wait a minute or two between messages. I had no idea what I'm doing. YouTube still warns me that I've got like half the bit rate of what I need, even though it seems to be performing pretty well. Which is odd. I don't know why it's doing that. But there's a lot of other stuff I need to do better. Setting up my links in my description and improving my interface. Yeah, I know. You would think normal latency wouldn't be abnormally high latency. You wouldn't think that's what that would mean. Horrendously high latency. Yeah, Well, and I've heard too, when I've heard people explain the difference between YouTube and Twitch from like a normal Twitch streamer's perspective, somebody that plays games and wants to make a, spend a significant portion of their time streaming games. They generally say that there's more of an opportunity for new creators to reach a bigger audience on YouTube. However, there tends to be less of a creator community on YouTube, I guess you could say. So like on Twitch, even for somebody as small as me, occasionally there's like another writer that'll pop in and say hello. Like that happened the other day. We had somebody, oh, you found an emote, a raccoon emote. Hell yeah. The missing link. We finally have one of the most important parts. But we would have, like other writers would pop in. And I met another writer on there. I've actually met a few writers on Twitch, and I've had a few writers stumble into my chat. But things like that apparently don't happen on YouTube. You're not going to have a situation where, let's say another author is going to stumble into your stream, another streamer. Doesn't seem to happen very often. I don't know if that would be the case. I'm sure it would be the case for me too. But that's what I hear from the gaming people. The gaming people tend to say you're kind of isolated on YouTube as a creator. And the audience are generally just viewers only. They're not content creators themselves, which that doesn't really bother me necessarily. I dragged you guys over here. But it's not necessarily important to me that everybody that watches my stream also be a content creator. But it is an interesting phenomenon. I guess it's probably could be due to the whole raiding thing. The fact that you can raid other creators on Twitch kind of makes you pay attention to other creators. And so when somebody raids you, you have a bunch of people that raid you over time. A lot of people end up making friends that way. Jesus Christ. Well, you shouldn't have deleted them. I can't imagine how entertaining that must have been. You've deprived the world, slighted the world by deleting those videos. But you know what? Well, no, I'll never know. And you'll never know either, because I have also made very old cringy YouTube videos. And you want me to confess even further? They were very stupid political videos. Oh, they were so stupid. Made by a very stupid person. I can't believe I ever actually did something like that. I should keep it a secret, but that's all right. You can only really say you've moved past something when you can admit that you've done it. Top 10 Mega Man songs. I don't even remember what mine were. It was like, oh my God. I'm trying to think of the kind of cringy videos I made. I think I was making some when universities were starting to ban speakers, which, to be fair, my view on that is still the same. I think censoring people you disagree with just for the sake of, or just for the pure fact that you disagree with them is a very poor way of rebutting someone's positions. But I think that's what I was making some videos on. I'm glad I didn't stick to that. I would have been forced to become a standard fare political grifter, like you generally see on all this stuff. Everybody wants the echo chamber stuff. So that's what everybody would have enjoyed. I would have had to have started doing that. Oh, I know. But that's all it is. I mean, that's pretty much all. Isn't that pretty much the whole game? I mean, pretty much everybody that... Almost every political commentator is a fairly apparent grifter. It's fairly obvious. Well, I shouldn't say obvious, because if it was obvious, more people would see it. But... Well, I feel like most of our lives consist of the things that we think we should do but then don't do. I'm trying my best to avoid that stuff, because even what I'm doing right now is something I've thought for years I should do that, and then just never did that. And then, you know, for like 20 years that was also my stance on writing. Like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to write a book one day. That's how it goes. I like when I get a drink, my model looks like I'm slurping from a cow teat. I'll do it again just so you can see. Like I've got one of those rat cage water things where they just walk up to it and they just lick the little bearing that rolls around and get water out that way. That's what it looks like. Well, how awesome remains to be seen. It has been an awesome experience for me, I should say. Regardless, it's been a positive. Slurping straight from the cow's teat, yeah. Yeah, that's true. We were talking earlier. I'm sure you guys know nothing about this, but it was one of those things in my research originally, which apparently was very insufficient. But my research on streaming on YouTube, there's an app called Truffle that is like a third-party app that plugs in and lets you use... It's not going to let you use your Twitch emote. I guess you could upload Twitch emotes to it. But it lets you use a lot of emotes, and it sort of makes YouTube function a lot like Twitch does. And so I can use it as a creator, and then you guys can download it, and we can do sort of the same thing that I would do if I was an affiliate on Twitch. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but it's less necessary. Like on YouTube, there's nothing. There's really nothing that you can use. And then plus the YouTube one, the Truffle app, would let me do a bunch of emotes even though I'm not like an affiliate. I can't remember what the app is called, but I've seen it used. I think Fillion uses it. I say these names, and there's a good chance we don't watch the same people. Not that I've watched Fillion in a long time, but I think I remember seeing it on her channel. If it's the one I'm thinking of, you don't even have to have it as a viewer. You just put in like a code, like what is it, 2 colons, and then the name of the emote or something, and it'll show up on the streamer screen. Or maybe you can download it too. I don't know. I've never downloaded that one. Word colon. Yeah. On OBS, I can't even like highlight that or right click it or anything. I can copy it. Let's see if I'm gonna put it in my own chat. Let's see if this actually works. I don't think it worked. Nope, it didn't work. Yep, OBJ. Oh, man. Let's see. Would it be like colon raccoon colon? Nope. What do I put? Oh, you put colon raccoon colon and that works? Well, it didn't work for me. Probably because of OBS. That's weird. I would have thought just, yeah, I just need to get good. Let's try this. I'm going to go over here to the creator dashboard. It's probably OBS that's messing with it. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, if I do it over on the actual YouTube side, then I can actually click it. There. So I can do it that way. But I have to go to the YouTube Studio interface. Yeah. So if I just type it in on OBS, it doesn't actually work. Interesting. We're learning. So what should I put on the bottom of my screen? Or should I just leave the space empty? Because I don't really do... I don't know how useful it is to have that stuff on Twitch either, because I had, let's see. I had followers, which obviously that works because I can get followers. And then I had subscribers, which I can't even have subscribers on Twitch yet. I may not ever. And then I had donations, which I've never had one, and I wouldn't even encourage anybody to do it. I would just say sign up for Patreon. Yeah, I kind of like the look of the negative space, but it's also a space that it could potentially be utilized. So I didn't know if maybe, you know, putting something about the, if I should put something about the Patreon there, or even like book covers. I could put a few book covers over there. I don't know. I do like the empty space, don't get me wrong. I was just wondering if there was some way I could better use it, or if it's better used being left empty. Because I'll be honest, it does look nicer to me. It looks nicer now than it did before. Just having nothing there. But I was kind of also toying with the idea of potentially putting something there. Putting, yeah. It might be. Leave it empty normally, but use it for a place to put notifications on. Well, I know Patreon is not the answer to everything, but in a way, that's also the place where a person can get all that stuff. So, like a patron is gonna get all those notifications and all those announcements and things like that. And that would be something I wouldn't ever have to change. I noticed there was a streamer who has like a scrolling, like a small scrolling section that had a message at the top. I could move my screen down a little bit. Yeah, okay. I see what you mean, Gigi. Sorry, it took me a minute for my brain to interpret what you were saying. Like you're saying, if I put the announcement directly there, then everybody who's watching will see it. They wouldn't have to go to Patreon then see it. Scrolling banner. Yeah, see, I kind of like the scrolling banner, and I like the negative space. So I'm wondering if I shouldn't pull the section, like the little corkboard you guys see that's got Microsoft Word on it right now. If I shouldn't pull that corkboard down just a little bit so that I can have the scrolling words at the top so that they won't be as distracting. They'll be on the edge of the screen, top edge of the screen. So if somebody wants to look at it, they can. It'll be there. I'm really working as hard as I can to get over shamelessly plugging myself. I'm trying to get in the habit of, I don't want to overdo it, but I at least want to do it like I see everybody else doing it. I'm obviously not benefiting by keeping myself secret from everybody all the time. As an author, anyway. Real life's a different story. I benefit greatly from that. But hey, Raccoon Me is a different thing. I just got to try to find that balance of what's too much and when it actually makes sense. Like, where is it appropriate to mention the Patreon and ask people to sign up and things like that. Also, obviously, once I set up my description, all that stuff will be in the description. Not that anybody ever reads it. But all that stuff would be there, all the links and explanations for things. And also, yeah, it is, isn't it? I'm sure that it's actually weird for me to go through and edit it for the 40th freaking time, too. Only to find that my writing style hasn't, I guess my writing skill has improved enough to where I look at this and I shake my head on certain sentences and wonder why I ever thought it was a good idea to write it that way. Which, that's good. That just means that this will actually be beneficial to go back and edit it again. Yeah. In another, well, hell, think about it. It's only been 4 years since I wrote this book. So, that's not a lot of time. Really, in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of time at all. But you can improve quite a bit in just a few years' time. Hopefully, just after doing this, it won't just be you who has read it. Hopefully, there will be some other people who will have read it too. We can only hope. Oh, Gigi, I didn't tell you. I'm also thinking of doing a Kickstarter. That's cool, Shin. I got plenty for you to read. But I'm going to do a Kickstarter just for the hell of it. I pointlessly posted on Twitter and asked, is this something I should do? I know I do, but there's a lot of cooking that needs to be done. So, and unfortunately, I'm only one stove. So, I'm getting to that. I'm planning on doing the Kickstarter for for the whole Detective Trigger light novelization project, because obviously I could only afford to get one cover done, and even that was a challenge. Getting one cover done was a challenge. As you know, as both of you know, Detective Trigger has 7 books released. Like, already released. So there's 6 main books and the prequel. So there's 7 books out right now. And 3 more books planned. Now, that would mean I have a total of 9 covers remaining that I still need to do. Now, that's like... that's 6 covers I really need right now. Like, for the books that are already released. So I've already got the first one redone. 6 more covers to cover books 2 through 6 that are already out, and the prequel. So, with the Kickstarter, I was thinking it would be nice to try it and see if I could get funding for all of the covers and all of the editing, because obviously all this editing is going to take a lot of time. I mean, it's obvious based on what we've worked on here on stream, that this editing will take a lot of time. And I'm not just talking because I'm yakking and bullshitting instead of editing like I'm doing right now. But even when we're actually working on it pretty quickly, like, let's see, what did it take? It took me like, yeah, I know, amazing. But that stream that went like 4 hours, I got like, let's say I wasn't streaming and didn't talk to anybody. I could have probably gotten 10 chapters edited in that amount of time. So, you're looking at a good week of editing per book, right? Because I can't just edit. I have a lot of other stuff I have to do too. So, let's say a week of editing per book. So that's like, we're talking almost 2 months worth of editing. So we got very expensive covers, like 2 months worth of editing, where I'm making no money off the editing itself, other than just losing a bunch of time that I have to take away from something else. And then there is the whole actual re-releasing process, where I have to go in, update all this stuff on the platforms that it's listed on, republish it, which I'm going to have to do anyway, to be fair, because I got to add my general pen name that I'm going to be using now, the Mr. Brogath pen name. I'm going to add that to all my books so that they all appear under that one name. Kind of the point of doing all this. But it would also be nice to have enough funding to where I can have the covers taken care of, take care of editing, and also write the remaining 3 books and do the kind of things like I'm doing for the Tales of Love and Magic series, where I'm planning to do a deluxe edition. I would also like to do a deluxe edition for Detective Trigger. But all of this is either going to take... There's 2 ways I can go about this. Either let's say how I would normally go about this if I didn't do a Kickstarter. Lots of time. Lots of time would pass in between each one. And maybe if the re-release did really well, I could take some of the money from that and get the second book cover updated, and then maybe take some time, if I can manage to squeeze it in, and do some editing while I'm writing another book, which is what I normally do. And it would happen over the course of a couple of years, probably. Best case scenario, it would happen over the course of a couple of years. As of right now, it's not been happening at all. Every time I think about continuing Detective Trigger, I can't really take the risk because that's not the book series that's making any money. And time spent writing one thing is... Gotcha. Time spent writing one thing is time not spent writing another. Conversely, I can do the Kickstarter, and if that works, then I can actually get this done. I could get the series finished in a few months instead of a few years. Funding is always the biggest issue with this stuff, especially when you ain't making much money. That's just the way it is.
The current month. You should have seen the look on his face. Probably thought I was pulling his leg about not having the money when he came by. I spent the next several hours cleaning up the office. Bag. After bag of trash. Old papers. Food wrappers. You name it. I did some sweeping. Wiping down.
That's actually one of those optional commas. Or I consider it really optional, because it's like sometimes it just comes down to how do you want the reader to read that sentence. So I can say a fine gal and as old as the hills. So then I wouldn't put a comma. But if I want to do a fine gal and as old as the hills, then I need a comma. Well, it just depends on how you want it. Yeah, I do too. To be fair, I do too. I don't do it as bad as I used to, but I still do too many commas. But I've learned to embrace it, because like in this case, a lot of editors would have told me to take that comma out. But if I'm going to read this aloud, and if I read it aloud and I pause and I say a fine gal and as old as the hills, how is the reader going to know that I want them to read it that way? Something has to be there to let them know that, or they're going to read it potentially a different way. So that's why I put the comma in there. Of course, I go through and take a lot out. Well, to be fair, that's probably the most appropriate way to learn it. I mean, to be fair, also a lot of uh a lot of YouTube authors are also wine moms and wine aunts. So you could you'd also learn it from one of them. Those are the kind of authors who are like, yeah, if you publish more than one book every 3 years, it's garbage, and you're writing too fast, and it's going to be a terrible book. And I write about 10 words a year, and my books, when I finish them once every decade, they turn out to be great. Oh, how do I survive, you ask? My husband is a hedge fund manager. Yeah, we make millions of dollars a year. So, my writing income doesn't matter. I wish that were me, to be fair. But I also wish that they wouldn't give that advice like it's generally good advice. Knowing good and damn well that nobody could possibly make it by releasing a book every few years. Not unless your best friend is an editor at one of the big publishers. And they're like, yeah, when you finish that book, don't worry, I'll fast lane you right to the desk of the publisher. Unless you got some kind of inside track, that ain't gonna fly. Hell, even I publish too slow, really, to get traction. Yeah, ain't that awesome? Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Don't you wish it was that easy? And hell, not even easy. Because you'll have other people being like, yeah, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, you got to do that hustle, that grind set. What they call it? What do these fuckers call that stuff? The like the Gary V people, and they're like, yeah, if you put in these 18-hour days, you're gonna be a millionaire for sure in in just like a year or two. I hate to break it to them. I've been putting in these 18-hour days, not every single day, but most of the time for several years. I'm a little shy. Yeah, I love those shows too. And I love how they frame it too. They frame it too, and what's funny is like the examples you guys are giving. They'll be like, "Yeah, we have a very modest income. We're looking for something small. We're very frugal, and we like to save our money, and we don't make much, but I think we can make it work. Can you help us make our small budget work? My budget's like $20 million." Oh, don't laugh. I told you it was small. It blows my mind. I'd be like, give me 10 minutes. I think I know where I have $100 hidden. Let me know what you can do for that. What kind of house can I get for $100? But you got to give me a chance to go find it first. I might not have that. You have to let me go find it. I think I know where I put it. But if I can find that $100 bill I hid, then you tell me what kind of house you can put me in for $100. Can you even get an old wash tub for $100? Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, well, the house you're talking about, if it was 150K 10 years ago, it's probably 500K now. It's like it's funny. I had a conversation with my dad today, and because my truck gets broke down again. My truck is 20 years old, by the way. I've taken very good care of it, but it's 20 years old. So it breaks down pretty often, and it stays broken down for periods of time because I don't exactly have money on hand to fix it. He's like, he's like, you really need to get rid of that vehicle and get you another vehicle. I'm nodding. I'm like, okay, that's pretty obvious. Then he's like, what can you put into another vehicle? I'm like, nothing. I've got a pretty good pair of shoes. I can walk, I guess. I've got a bicycle. I got a bicycle on clearance last year. Only problem living in a rural place, riding a bicycle is like having to walk on a sidewalk made of old like Vietnam era landmines. You might be able to get to where you're going without dying, but you won't be able to do it forever. Eventually, you're going to step on one of those son of a bitches, and it's going to be live, and you're going to get blown into a million pieces. And that's kind of what riding a bike is in a rural community. It's like it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when are you going to get ran over by somebody who hates bikes. I don't know what it is about rural communities. I guess it's because there's no such thing as a bike lane or really even a sidewalk. But people just hate bikes. Like they get so enraged that they just want to kill everybody that they see on a bike. Yeah, I couldn't afford a spill either. Well, hell, I almost killed myself trying to see if I could find a Nintendo DS case that I had stored. That's how I hit my head. I'm still fucked up from that. That's been like over 2 weeks ago. I don't know what the hostility is. And speaking of my dad, he's like that too. Like, he gets so mad if he sees a bike on the road. I'm like, fucking calm down. Like, that's just somebody that's just, they're trying to go somewhere. Just wait and go around them. Like, relax. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was looking for a Nintendo DS case. But I found the case that I was looking for. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I tried to like jump over a box that had fallen in the way, and because I didn't want to take the time to try to clean a bunch of shit up. So when I like basically jumped over it, I jumped directly into a steel beam. My ears have been ringing ever since. Literally. Although that has improved. So yeah, do I really want to fall off a bike? I don't know. Not really. But it was funny. It was like, asked me how much I could put into a new car, a new vehicle. I was like, absolutely nothing. Like, well, I guess that pretty much eliminates every possibility then. I don't think there are very many people giving away vehicles for free. If you guys know anybody, hook me up. Otherwise, I think I'd love to ride a bike if we actually had bike lanes in rural areas. But you'd think that would be an ideal place to have a bike lane. Because sure, everything is spread way out in a rural area, but I could ride a bike. I could get to a few different places under an hour. I know that sounds crazy, but if I could get to a place and get back in under an hour, I think that wouldn't be too bad on a bike. If I could get to, well, everybody knows the southern memes about dollar stores. I could get to a dollar store and back home in under an hour. Yeah, you're really not, and the sidewalks are so rough though that they're kind of dangerous to ride a bike on, and you're not really supposed to ride a bike on the bicycle, or ride a bike on the. You're not really supposed to ride a bike on the sidewalk either. My God. But that's what I thought too. The problem is, I wouldn't have a sidewalk to get on until well over halfway into the ride, where there's so many back roads and stuff like that here. Half the trip would be over before I could get onto a sidewalk. Well, actually, more than half the trip. It would be like 80% of the trip for me before I could get on a sidewalk. The rest of it, I'd have to be in the middle of a road. A middle of a road that has no markings.
And as old as the hills. She mostly did the job to stave off the boredom of retirement after her husband passed. She showed up within the hour. Good to see you again, Trigger, she said.
Let's see. Yeah, I need to go through this a little more slowly. Why is your laundry in all caps? Did somebody steal your laundry? It'd suck to have somebody steal your laundry. I guess it would. Somebody would only need a grocery bag to steal my entire wardrobe. I made it a point to, what do you call that? Minimalism? I know most of these minimalist people are like filthy rich and just do it for the aesthetic, but I did minimize my wardrobe. I've got like, I don't know. I've got, yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to think. I've got like, less than 5 pairs of pants, and that also includes specialty stuff. Like I've got some tick repellent pants, which are actually really cool. I've got some cold weather half my clothes are for hunting. Got some cold weather pants that have got like fleece in them for like the colder days of deer hunting season. And I've got like 2 actual pairs of pants that I can wear out places. And I've got, I think, less than 10 shirts, less than 10 long sleeve shirts, less than 10 short sleeve shirts. So I've got my wardrobe down pretty small. And of course, this is ignoring the fact that I never go anywhere. So it might not sound like a lot, but if you never go anywhere, it's still way too much clothes. I should probably get rid of at least half of what I still have left. I really only need a few shirts. Yeah. And really it's better to be, because most of us don't wear... Oh, most people have clothes in their wardrobe that they never wear and never will wear. Yeah. That's the thing too. I've got, like I mentioned when I mentioned my pants, it's all from a utility perspective. I've got some hot weather pants for the woods to repel ticks, because ticks love me, and I'm scared shitless of Lyme disease. So I've got like a full outfit of the clothes that has tick repelling fabric into it, which is actually very effective. So I've got that. I've got the warm weather pants. I've got some like thermal pants that I can wear underneath those pants if the weather's especially cold. And then I've got like a couple of pants I can wear out. And I'm good. And I tell you, most of the short sleeve shirts I have are all the same damn shirt. I got like a 8-pack of shirts, and it's the same shirt. So I just, when one gets shredded, torn up, just throw it in the garbage. And I've got a bunch more shirts. They're the same shirt. See, we're all the same. I do think that's a good thing. Are you guys good on time? Can both of you stay a little bit later? Like if I ran it to 9:30, would you both be able to stay? Or do you guys have to leave? Okay. What about you, Gigi? Could you stick around another half an hour, or you got stuff you got to do? I don't mind it at all. I just want to get one chapter done so I can post it on Patreon today. My problem is I don't drink late. I drink early, but that's simply because if I drink late, I get migraines. And for some reason, if I drink early in the day, anytime, say mid-morning or lunchtime, or even, a little bit after lunchtime, it doesn't bother me. But if I drink in the evening, I almost always get a migraine during the night, and those fucking suck. Those are the ones where I wake up vomiting everywhere for like 6 hours straight and can't do anything to make it go away. So I try to avoid those. So I don't drink in the morning because I'm an alcoholic. I have a reason. Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, see, I've tried wines that you've recommended to me too, and they've not been any better. You know, one you recommended to me like a couple of months ago, was it Moscato or something like that? that wasn't any better for me. I'm just not a wine person. The only wine I can actually, well, migraines aside, just from an enjoyment perspective, the only wine I've been able to drink is mead. Yeah, even white wines. My migraines are pretty easy to trigger. Like I said, anything in the evening, even a beer in the evening. I used to try to drink beer in the evening, but with dinner, if I drink beer in the evening with dinner, there's a really strong chance I'm going to get a migraine during the night. They think it's something neurological, but whatever. Like everything else that, just like everything else, is not like I can afford to go see the specialist that's outside my network and find out what's going on. So whatever. You learn to live with it. You can put vodka in anything. I think vodka is sort of like rum in that way. Yeah, I do. It's vague, and who knows how accurate it is. Like that could be exactly what's going on, or that could just be something pulled out of somebody's ass. Because I swear, these doctors, this was like two doctors getting together, putting their heads together to really come up with a good theory about a back injury I had, and they're like, you know what? Let's send him to a neurologist. I bet it's neurological. And I'm like, guys, I told you I injured it weightlifting. Like I felt the bone pop. It's not neurological. And they're like, well, you could just try it. I'm like, why try it when it's obviously not the thing? Why go and waste money on something pointless if I know for a fact that it's not the reason? So I was like, they're like, well, I made you an appointment. I'm like, well, cancel it. And so they canceled it. But yeah, that's what it's like going to rural doctors. Yeah, I think we've talked about moonshine before. I don't know if we have talked about it, but moonshine is one of those drinks that, and I guess I'm just one of these people that I like all my drinks flavored. I like the girly drinks. So it's got to have some kind of flavoring before I really enjoy it. So like the moonshines, like the apple moonshines and stuff. I love those. I don't mind regular moonshine, but I tend to like the flavored stuff. That doesn't honor the spirit of moonshine, does it? I've drank, it might not surprise you considering where I live, but I have drank a few times of the kind of moonshine we're talking about. Where taxes were not paid.
She showed up within the hour. Good to see you again, Trigger, she said. You too, Zelda. Hope you didn't get too bored at home. I must have read about 100 books, so it wasn't too bad. Must have spent a fortune on 100 books, I replied with a sly grin. I reread the 100 books I already own. I couldn't help but laugh.
Now let's change that. feel like if it's real moonshine, you're risking your life a little bit. You have to put your life on the line to try real moonshine. And sadly, that's not an exaggeration.
She chuckled and went about setting up her desk. The next morning,
New scene. Now, well, your eyesight. Some of the moonshine I've heard about, you'd be lucky if all you lost was your eyesight. Lay it on us.
the next morning Zelda buzzed into my office. Scared the daylights right out of me. "There's a Ms. Lily here to see you, detective." I pressed the button on the intercom. She opened the door and walked inside, looking surprised, if not downright impressed. "Mr. Trigger, I like what you've done with the place." "Thanks." I motioned to the seat in front of me. "Please. I wanted to check in with you to see if perhaps you've discovered any new leads about my stolen collar." "Hit a snag with that, man."
Is that true? I don't know if that's true in modern steals, but maybe that's how they used to do it. That must be why the flavor's so good then. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I feel like I should have known that because I have helped put a moonshine still together before. I've helped people get the parts before. So I probably should have known that, but I didn't know that. Maybe they didn't have the heart to tell me since I'm a raccoon. They didn't want me to know, so they hid that from me. Yeah, that is a particularly relevant fact. So the question is, if I drink a bunch of alcohol and take a piss, does it turn into moonshine? Something to ponder.
See, when I was on the force, I spent a lot of time studying Rico's markers. I went over all that in my head. This just doesn't fit the profile. "What do you mean, detective?" "I mean that I don't think Rico lifted your collar." "I mean that I don't think Rico lifted your collar. A collar is an easy thing to pocket. When was the last time you saw it?" It had been in the armoire.
That's true. I should consider doing that. A raccoon fact of the day. But we'll start with one fact that I know off the top of my head. Raccoons can turn over shit that would make you think it was a bear. In fact, a bear and a raccoon are very similar in the sort of things they can break into. It's pretty easy to confuse what actually got into your into your giant trash can or a dumpster. It's pretty hard to tell sometimes. Raccoons work together when it comes to that stuff. They're very good at teamwork when it comes to getting trash out of a trash can. The difference that I've found is that raccoons don't take it very far. So a raccoon, they might drag a trash bag. I'll say we might drag a trash bag 10 feet or something like that. Whereas a bear tries to carry the thing completely, or a black bear, I should say. Black bear is the one I'm used to. They might carry it. I mean, they might carry it a long way because they don't want to rifle through it where people can see them. So they might take it 100 yards before they start tearing it apart. If they get it out of a neighborhood, they may drag it up into the woods before they start tearing it apart, right to the edge of the woods. Yeah. Well, I saw a video that was crazy where a bear had learned to unscrew a trash can lid. So it was like a really long thread trash can lid that had screwed onto the can. And the bear was just sitting there spinning the lid off. He had figured out how to unscrew the lid. You know something, Shin, now that you're here and you mentioned that, I had a thought in the middle of the night, as I often do, where I was thinking that I would suggest the next comic you drew could be like me and you trying to figure out how to break into some high-tech trash can, like some high-tech dumpster, since bears and raccoons can't help themselves but to try to break into every dumpster in existence. It could be me and you trying to figure out how to break into some really high-tech dumpster. Like Mission Impossible. Like some kind of, like the lock-picking lawyer on YouTube trying to figure out how to get into a trash can. I don't know, the thought just hit me and I thought it was really funny when it popped into my head at the time. The image was really funny when it was in my head. Because I know anytime I see some kind of wild break-in on a trash can, I know it's either a raccoon or a bear. Because no other animal is that persistent about breaking into a trash can. But for some reason, a bear and a raccoon, they just have to do it. It must be done. They won't stop until they figure out a way to get in it. And if they can't figure out a way to get in it, then you have an amazing trash can. That would be cool, Shin. I'd love to see it. I'm sympathetic to that, don't worry. If there's anyone who understands that, it's me. So, whenever you want to do it, I think it'd be cool.
For years, I would look at it every few months, just to clean and care for it. I rarely wore it. She paused. I suppose I saw it about a month ago. Lot can happen in a month, I muttered. Who had access to the room during that time? My maid, but she's a darling. She'd never steal a thing. Not a thing.
Oh, what sort of convention, if you don't mind me asking? I guess I don't know how much you're into the like the real life meetup furry con stuff. I know there's furry cons, or if you meant like a regular anime type con. Oh, PAX? Okay. I think they make a lot of cool announcements at PAX, don't they? Isn't that where they make a lot of game announcements for new games and things like that? Or have demos that you can try?
Some members of my family and a few friends, but they don't really have a reason to enter the room.
Members of my family. Holy shit. Why would I say members of my family and not family members? This is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Why the hell would I put members of my family and not family members? 2 words mean the exact same thing as 4. My God. Oh, tabletop games. I love the idea of tabletop games, but cannot get past the hurdle of having to experience them with other people. If there was a single player tabletop game, which is basically just a regular game.
Members and a few friends, but they don't really have a reason to enter the room. Does the room stay locked? I asked. No, it doesn't. What's the maid's address? I slid her a pen and a pad.
Oh man, I people have tried to drag me into it too. My wife has tried to drag me into D&D games, Magic the Gathering games. I just can't do it.
Of paper across the desk. She picked it up and wrote down the address. Afraid I will need to talk to her about it, ma'am. It's the best lead we've got at the moment. She frowned. If you must.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've already almost trimmed. We've trimmed almost 1,000 words off this so far. 10 chapters in. If that continues, then we'll end up trimming like, well, 1,000 words every 10 chapters, almost 50 chapters. So we may end up trimming almost 5,000 words off of this, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, it's actually probably a very good thing. All right. That's where I'll stop on the editing tonight. I really wanted to get one chapter done so I'd have something to post on Patreon, because I didn't get to write a Tales of Love and Magic chapter, because I've been busy with other stuff the past couple of days. Didn't get to write one today because of a bunch of other stuff. Then probably won't get to write one tomorrow because I have a lore commission to do that I have to get finished before I have another lore commission coming in at the end of the week, which is cool. Just got to make sure I get those done. Really want to make sure I get that done before the next one comes in, so I only have one at a time. I try to only have one commission writing gig at a time, so I won't be able to post anything to Patreon for a few days. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to playing Yakuza again as soon as I finish editing this book. Yeah, that's true. You're the only person on Patreon right now, but I'm trying to treat it like there's a million people waiting. I won't exaggerate, but I'm trying to go ahead and get into the mindset of treating it like I will be treating it going forward. You know, if I have a few hundred patrons, I want to make sure I'm putting something up there regularly. So I want to get into that habit now, even before I start advertising it. But as soon as I finish the first Detective Trigger book edit, because I want to get that done quickly, obviously, because that's part of my whole, 50 pans on the oven, or whatever you said earlier. Too many pots on the stove. Yeah, that's one of the pots. So I want to try to get it done at the same time I get everything else done. I'm still waiting on that illustration, which is starting to cause me mental anguish. I really hope that does get finished by the end of the week. She said it probably would get finished by the end of the week. Hell, I don't even know what you're talking about now. I mean, if we're talking about Yakuza, I'm going to play Yakuza as soon as I finish editing the first Detective Trigger book. Because I'm going to give the Kickstarter a shot, which means I have to put a lot of stuff together. I have to make sure I do a good job writing it. I have to put together perk ideas, which I have no freaking idea what to have as perks for that. Maybe copies of the books, maybe copies of the deluxe complete edition. I'm not even sure what to offer as perks for that. Oh, yeah, that. Yeah, that's what you said earlier. Pots on the stove, I think. You said I had a lot of pots on the stove, and I kept trying to add more when I mentioned the Kickstarter. That's just how I cook. With too many pots on the stove. Let me see. Let's take a look at the YouTube stats before I wrap it up here. Well, it's not the food that suffers. It's the mental health of the chef that tends to suffer when you cook that way. It's hard on the mind to keep up with 40 pots on the stove at once. Yeah, it's the chef who suffers. Well, you know what? It looks like we have had about the same as we usually do on Twitch. That is to say, you guys. You know, I would say that dynamic might change, and I'll probably do the next stream on Twitch because I don't think I'll really benefit until I start being able to put regular content out on YouTube. And if I build a subscriber base on YouTube, then obviously that might help to stream on YouTube, because then I would have that subscriber base to pull from too on the streams. But right now I don't have any videos uploaded. That seems like a terrible quote. Nietzsche? You know, Nietzsche gets a bad rap for being a nihilist, which he really isn't. But that quote in particular seems rather nihilistic. That might be the most nihilistic thing he's said. Why do you dislike Nietzsche? I mean, I ask you like we probably haven't had a bunch of conversations about him already, but I tend to agree with that. Yeah, he comes across to me as more optimistic than nihilistic. Yeah, I like him too. Especially with what people... I feel like he gets misinterpreted. And I'm getting ready to log off, so I'm sorry. I'm going to stimulate your mind on this, and then you're going to have no way to... We're going to end up not being able to talk about it. But I feel like Nietzsche gets misunderstood in the same way that Machiavelli is misunderstood. Because everybody talks about, these sinister plots being Machiavellian. When the dude was trying to help people he liked to avoid problems. Yeah. Machiavelli, he was trying to help people avoid schemes and avoid being manipulated and things like that. He wasn't teaching them how to do it. He was teaching them how to avoid it. But people read it, or I should say they probably didn't. They read the synopsis and assumed what his writing was about. And I feel like Nietzsche is almost the exact same way, because everybody thinks Nietzsche is synonymous with nihilism, but he's almost the opposite of nihilism. And yeah, just about everything. Most of his best points were very optimistic. They were very critical, which may be why a lot of people interpret it as nihilistic. But you can be very critical and still be optimistic. But I think Machiavelli has probably the most misunderstood. Yeah, I know, which is why it's so ironic that that people label him that way. And he was actively a force against it and very much disliked it as a philosophy. Yeah. But people's interpretation of those works just go to show that people have been making garbage takes for centuries. I know. But when you said don't get you started, I proceeded to do exactly the thing needed to get you started. Yeah, that's true too. Well, I mean, man, we could go on this forever, but most philosophers who have contributed something actually useful were pretty misunderstood. Yeah. I mean, most of the Greek philosophers worth a fuck were either put to death, attempted to be put to death, or sold into slavery. I can't imagine. And then, obviously, all of Aristotle's work has been lost. All of his written work. And the only written works we can find related to him are the written works of people who read his written work and said it was the most amazing. He was one of the best writers that they had ever seen. And yet, that's all we have. Yeah, I mean, and some other people who read it and said, I can't believe it. It's so amazing. And then all of it's destroyed. It's terrible. But things don't change that much. Just the technology and people's platforms, people's ability to communicate is about all that's changed. The shittiness of Twitter was just something else back in the day. But yeah, before we get too far down that rabbit hole, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Post this one chapter to Patreon, and I will do the next stream on Sunday on Twitch. We may revisit this whole YouTube thing again after if I start getting some traction on YouTube with videos. We may revisit the whole YouTube thing then. But for now, we're all more familiar with Twitch. You guys are more familiar with watching videos on Twitch. So we'll just stick to Twitch for the time being. Much time will pass. Unfortunately, that is one of the things that I need that goddamn illustration for. I need that illustration for the YouTube videos too, because I'm going to use it as a background. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll see you guys on Twitch on Sunday then. What is it? What time is it? Let me look it up. Let me look. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. No. I need that illustration for my own satisfaction. I need the illustration, the other one for for business. I need your illustration, but you know, in the sense that I need it in my life. We all need that one, Shin. It's not just me that needs it. We all need that one. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll see you guys Sunday, if not before then. You doing any more streaming this week, Shin, before I wrap it up? I may as well ask you while I'm here. You going to be streaming any before Sunday? I don't know that I would be able to come by even if you are, but I guess I'd like to know anyway. Very cool. Will you Discord message me if you decide to do that, so that if you do it, that I don't miss it because I didn't check Twitter that day or something? I don't want to miss it because I would hate to miss that just because I didn't want to venture onto Twitter on a given day. So yeah, if you don't mind, just Discord me so I make sure I show up. I want to show up for that if you do it. For sure. All right, guys. See you around. I'll either see you Sunday or before then. Have a good night.